as you guys can see, my brother is not here. He disappeared. He's MIA. He's actually on vacation. Don't worry. But we have Genie here, who
Hey
always
guys.
good to have him on. So, um, do you have any news to share with us at all, or?
Well, always good to be here as well. And that would be crazy if Danny had just disappeared for
Yeah.
real. Like, what would
He's like, oh,
happen?
I guess I'm just doing the
Um,
podcast without him. But
yeah. Yeah, I've been working a lot lately on some film stuff. Really trying to just make something great happen there. I don't have any public announcements to make just yet. I know like last time I was talking a little bit about video game adaptations, and like I'm just pretty openly saying now that I'm doing that on a producing capacity, and then hopefully soon in a writing producing capacity as well. Um, but essentially what that has looked like, and I really want to talk about like the specifics of it as soon as I'm able, but I can't just out of respect for the developers and all that because it's a we want to make sure those announcements are as special as they can be, meaning like for those that know film in the trades, I don't want them to be a deadline article on a Tuesday. If we can help it, I would love to have it be on a platform, you know what I mean? I want it to be at like State of Play for PlayStation, or I want it to be at the Game Awards or something recognizable, or like the Summer of Gaming, which I know are big shots, but I wouldn't say that and name drop that without being able to walk the talk on that potentially. So needless to say, the games we're working on and have acquired under option are really great. They're indies. They're very quality over quantity, I would say, in terms of narrative, story, legacy, sales, and all that. They're recognizable. Some I would say are hidden in plain sight, and I feel like I've made it kind of obvious what it is. And others like I've kind of just kept my lips tight about. But there's some stuff that when I'm able to talk about it'll be so exciting because I love it and it's great, and I've been really happy about that. It's very fulfilling, and I love games, and I love what it means for the world.
I
So
love
that's
games.
all I'll say.
It's cool, man. It's cool.
How
I
about you?
I never have anything going on in my life, but the only thing that happened this week was out of nowhere. One of my coworkers comes up and he had sold me a 3D printer a while back,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, "Hey, I have a story for you." And I'm like, "Okay, what's
Mhm.
up?" He's like, "So I was doing this 3-day long print on this 3D printer,
Uh-huh.
and about 2.5 days in, my wife comes in and she's like, 'Hey, I shut off the printer because it was making weird noises and like it seemed like it was twitching a lot, and I shut it off.'" And he's like, "That's completely fine. I understand. Like if it was acting weird, like that was probably a good idea." And he goes and checks, and like there's this sensor that they have on 3D printers that it's usually an add-on, but what it does
Mhm.
is it'll tell you like when to stop the printer. Like it'll bring the print head down, and then it can sense where the actual plate is, right?
Uh-huh.
And so that prevents it from just like you know pushing the head into the build plate and just like breaking it or something, right?
Uh-huh.
So he's like, yeah, that sensor was just gone. Like it just disappeared, and
Okay.
he's like, and then my print had like a whole corner melted off of it, and he's like, it's just I'm glad that we stopped it, but I was like, I don't feel like fixing it, so I was thinking I might sell it, and you can just have it. Um, he's like, yeah, it's kind of a bigger printer. It's called a longer LK1,
Uh-huh.
and it's not the prettiest thing in the world. Like it doesn't have the controls like hidden under certain compartments. Like there's just a separate box that comes off. It's kind of weird, but the build plate's bigger than the ones that I have,
Hmm.
and so he sold me the printer and like 8 spools of filament. So, which for context, 8 spools of filament, if each one's like $20, I mean it's $160, right?
Uh-huh.
And he sold me the printer and the filament for like $250. So I was like, okay, like this was a good deal. And some of it was like different materials that I haven't used before, so it's a good opportunity for me to test those out and figure out the print settings for them. So it was really cool.
Mm.
And then on a much less exciting note, I woke up today with like a massive headache, right? And the last time I had a headache was when my brother actually came to visit. Like the whole weekend, I had a migraine, and
Oh, that's brutal.
yeah, and I remember like we went. we went and saw Captain America and then got Olive Garden afterwards. And I told him, I was like, dude, I'm not gonna eat right now. I feel like crap. And he's like, oh yeah, you're good. Don't worry. Like it kind of sucks because you can't have it fresh, but I understand. Like if you don't feel good, then you're not gonna enjoy the food. I was like, yeah. So,
Hmm.
um, I ended up drinking a soda, and that fixed it, right? And so I tried that today, and I guess it's not that kind of headache this time. Um, so I took some ibuprofen, took a 14-minute nap, woke up, feel great. So
Nice,
I'm
dude.
like,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, weekend saved.
Great.
So shout out to ibuprofen.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but
What kind of ibuprofen do you take? Like Tylenol or like what?
well, so Tylenol is acetaminophen, right?
Uh huh.
This is some like random Walgreens brand.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like okay. I don't know if you know this. I can't swallow pills. Like I for the life of me cannot do it. There's something where it's just like my brain can't get it down.
Sure. Even
Um,
with water or like.
even with water. Like the last time I tried
Okay.
swallowing pills was when I was like in seventh grade and I was at camp, and we were at Big Bear, so like super high altitude compared to what I was used to in Yuma, which is like I don't know if it's at
Uh-huh.
sea level or below sea level, but like super high elevation,
Like really
wasn't
high.
used to it.
Yeah.
So I got altitude sickness, and I remember I had a terrible headache, like just excruciatingly bad, like it just pounding, and I was super nauseous. And my counselor, he's like, let's go to the nurse, and so we go over there, and the nurse gives me some Tylenol, but I was like, I can't swallow pills. She goes, just drink some water and try it. And so I'm sitting there, I drink like a whole bottle of water in the span of like 30 seconds trying to get this freaking Tylenol down. And I was like, yeah, I just can't do it. And they're like, all right, well, go ahead and just wait. And I'm like, I'm starting to feel better. And then they're like, oh, it's good. And then I'm like, oh. And I immediately run to the bathroom, just throw up. Yeah,
Oh.
so I was like, I can't do that. I can't swallow pills. And if I try and force it, I'm gonna drink too much water too fast, and I'm gonna throw up. So I don't do
Yeah.
that. So you're not supposed to do this. I don't recommend doing this, but I chew up pills if it's like ibuprofen or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I just can't. I can't swallow pills like whole.
Sure.
So
Sure.
maybe if I like cut them up, but then I feel like a drug dealer. So I don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I will say, like, if you chew pills, like the worst sensation ever. Like your throat gets super. I wouldn't say like dry, but it's like it feels like you need to cough like
Uh
a
huh.
lot to get it all out. And then it's like, but if I cough, then whatever is in my throat is what's supposed to make me feel better. So I'm coughing it
Right.
out. Like it's this weird cycle. Not a fun experience, but I just can't swallow pills. So that's what I have to
Yeah.
do to get that stuff down. It sucks.
I know what you're saying. Like it's some people are like insane and can swallow pills without water, which I just think is ridiculous. I
Yeah.
could never do that. But like I had I get like chronic headaches as well. And it's like really when it hurts so bad, especially when it's like so bad that you have to throw up.
Yeah.
But like and I've just trialed and errored like my whole life of how to deal with that. And I have like these rapid release Tylenols that like I tend to rely on, and if it's an emergency, I'll take three at once, and then if usually I'll just take two. But like that, there was one time where I had taken I was in high school actually, and I would get them so often that I would just have like in my pocket like or my backpack like Advil on me, and I would it was in a position it was actually in church. I remember because we had daily mass, and so I'm like kneeling, and I have to like reach into my. We're wearing suits too, by the way. So I'm reaching into my blazer, and I'm like I have this little baggie of Advil liquid gels. I'm like I like take it out and I eat it without water because I'm just like I can't. I was trying to wait for the end of mass so I could go to the water fountain and like down it with water. And I was like, dude, I have to do it. And I was just like sitting there for like 5 minutes trying to swallow this, but then it's melting in my mouth at the same time. And then exactly what you're saying, that bitter, like
Yeah.
disgusting, like something between like a sting, but then kind of not, is like just in your mouth. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
like trying to
Yeah.
pray at the same time.
Oh, yeah. And what I will say is with Tylenol. So I've always been that weirdo who has to take the children's Tylenol where it's the chewables, but some genius at Tylenol was like, "What if we made a powder that you could just swallow?" And so they have these little packets that you can get now. I think it's two packets that you take. You cut them
Uh-huh.
open, which I'm like, why not just like unless it's for like dosage purposes for like kids, why not just make it one packet? But I won't get into that. It's whatever. So
Right.
it's two packets, and you just cut them open and you down them, and they go down super easily,
Uh-huh.
and you drink some water with it afterwards. But it's like that's probably one of the best experiences for taking medicine is just that powder. I don't know if it costs more. I honestly don't pay attention to that stuff because if I have a headache, I don't care how much I have to spend to fix it. Like I will spend that money. I hate headaches. Headaches are the worst.
Yeah.
But no. So as far as like having issues in high school with like headaches or nausea or whatever, so I had a big thing mainly in freshman and sophomore year. I think mostly in freshman year actually, um, where I would get nauseous, like on my way to school, and then after like first or second period, I'd be fine. And it was
Oh
it
wow.
it was like so strange to me. I'm like, why do I feel like crap every day? I go to the nurse's office and they'd be like, "Did you eat anything?" I'm like, "Yeah, I ate." And sometimes I'd be like, "Okay, no, I didn't eat anything." And I still feel like this. And they're like, "Well, if you really don't feel good, you can go home." And I'm like, What is this?" And so I started taking Dramamine before I go into class,
Uh-huh.
and that helped. But it turned out it was an anxiety thing. Like
Oh.
I had such bad anxiety from this freaking math class in freshman year that I was getting
Oh.
nauseous. And I remember like I didn't understand what it was until we had a midterm, and I literally had a panic attack in the middle of the test, and I forgot like everything. I just stared at the paper, and I remember like half an hour had gone by, and I was like, I've done nothing.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, and so I went to the teacher like I don't know if it was later that day or if it was like later in the week, but I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I had a panic attack during that midterm, and I was like, I didn't know what to do, and she's like,
Right.
yeah, I noticed you had like one problem done, and I was like, yeah, so can I retake it? She goes, yeah, go ahead, just you can retake it. I
Oh,
retook
very
it,
nice.
and I think I got like a C. I really did not like that class. She would like tell you, oh, come to the back of the class and ask for help, and then you go to the back of the class and there'd be like a whole line of people who need help, and the entire time
Oh shit.
she would be yelling, like, what a way to make people feel like they shouldn't ask for help because you're announcing to the whole class, hey, this kid doesn't know what they're doing, they're an idiot, you know, like if you're a teacher or if you want to become a teacher, don't be like that. Like people get scared to ask for help because you make them feel like they shouldn't ask for help. Like you're punishing them by announcing it to the whole class. Like don't do that. So
Yeah.
that made it really hard for me to get through that class, and I it really didn't help at all in high school when I had a higher math class in sophomore year. I remember I did even worse in that class because I was just like so scared to ask for help.
Oh,
So
I'm sorry, dude.
yeah,
It sucks that that had an impact on your health too.
yeah,
At the age of literally like you're like what, 14?
yeah. At that point,
I'm
yeah,
13, 14.
yeah. Well,
So not cool.
and I mean, like I had dealt with anxiety like as far back as like second grade, um, and the nausea from it.
Sorry, keep going. I'm gonna grab a Kleenex. Sorry,
You're
my
good.
nose is clogged.
You're good. Um, so the nausea from it was so weird because I remember like, and I don't remember why I was so nervous in second grade. I don't know, it's just because I was getting used to like being in school and having to deal with like um the whole system of like, oh, if you're doing something bad, you got to flip your card or whatever. But like for some reason, I just had like weird anxiety in second grade, and I had that same thing, but I never made the connection until like high school that's what that was caused by is just being anxious, you
It
know.
was like another bad teacher in second grade, or just this
No,
this
I
teacher?
don't think she was bad. I think it's just a bad experience from first grade that kind of carried over. In first grade,
I see.
I had this teacher. I won't say her name, but I still remember it. She was like not cut out to be a teacher. I remember like she had so many emotional issues throughout the year that it was just like why are you teaching 5-year-olds. Like I remember her dog died, and her sister called her while it was being put down, and she was on the phone like literally like crying and like screaming out loud. Meanwhile, we're all sitting there like I think we were supposed to write 7 up sentences. Did you guys ever have that when you were in elementary school?
7 up sentences?
Yeah, it was like it was
No.
words that had to be or sentences had to be 7 words, and you had to include like a noun, a verb, and an adjective or something like that. And but you had to write sentences that were 7 words. And so we're sitting there like writing sentences out, and the entire time she's literally like screaming and crying because she's on the phone while her dog is being put down, right? And I got a paper cut during this event, right?
Uh-huh.
And so imagine me, 5, 6 years old, being like, I need to ask for a band-aid, but I'm scared because this teacher's screaming right now, and it feels awkward to go and bother her while she's dealing with something like this. And so I go up to her and I'm like, hey, I have a paper cut, I need a band-aid, and she's like rummaging around, like still dealing with what just happened, and she finally gets fed up. She's like, just go next door. And so I go next door, and that class is dead silent because they can hear everything. So I would
Like the
like
kid.
yeah, I was like, dude,
Oh,
like this
man.
is this is awful. Like, and I think that might have done it. And I remember like that really screwed me over in second grade because I missed out on a lot of fun days. Like we had a day where the teacher brought in like a red apple, a green apple, and a yellow apple for every kid.
Uh-huh.
And we were learning about like I don't know if it was like graphs or voting or what, but it was basically just a way to show like, hey, this many people like this thing, this many people like this thing, this many people like this thing. How do we visualize that, right? Um, well, I missed that day, and we were not told that it was happening ahead of time. So I come back and I see apples on the wall, and I'm like, "What's that about?" And they're like, "Yeah, we got to eat a bunch of apples yesterday." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" I was like, "That would have been nice. I would have loved to try different apples because I had never had a yellow apple. I never had a green apple. I only had red apples." So I missed out on this experience, and so finally, like I think like 15 years later, I'm like, I'm gonna try a yellow apple, and it was the worst thing I'd ever had. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
wow, these 15 years I've been wanting to try this apple so bad, and I try it, and it sucks. So I was like, this is
No.
what a scam, what a scam. But I would have known ahead of time if I had been there for that day, and then I missed out on like computer classes and stuff like that. It just, yeah,
Oh.
it really screwed with me, man. But I don't know. I'm glad I'm not in school anymore. I don't ever want to go back. There's people at work who are like, "Yeah, I'm still going to school," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, dude." Like, I'm like, that
Oh
sucks,
yeah.
dude.
Oh.
Can't
What
stand it.
a what an incredible shift in like life and reality that happens after high school and really
Yeah.
college, I guess. Like just know, and I remember the last day, my true last day of school, which was like actually in the pandemic, because it was in grad school,
Mhm.
and there was no like, I guess I didn't get when it was my last day of in-person school. We never knew because we didn't know the pandemic hit, and then out of nowhere, like we just get Zoom classes for the rest of the semester. But the last day where it was, the final obligation towards any kind of school or education, that day was just like scary in a weird way because it's like God, for the last 23 years of my life, it's been these deadlines and this like dark cloud and this like iron fist that I feel like I'm like beneath. And then what am I away from that, who's not worrying about assignments and schools and deadlines and having to take the time to do homework, and it's just like it's weird. But now it's like it never happened. I'm
Yeah.
like, you just really like separate yourself from that and block out all the bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, we can shift the subject. I know we want to talk about
um. Well, I guess I'll move into this. So the big news this week that I think was it literally like yesterday that it happened. I think it was literally yesterday. Um. So the president of Ukraine met with Trump,
Mhm.
and like biggest meltdown of public relations as far as like, oh hey, these two countries, they're working together, like they're buddy buddy. It's like, nope, not anymore, man. Like they hate each other now. Like it was pretty bad. I don't remember what exactly started the argument, but I guess at some point they were basically were just saying like, oh hey, you know, if we're gonna help you out more, we need like something in return. And I guess Zelensky was like, well, can I have more? And they're like, dude, can you say thank you? And he just starts like arguing with Trump and Vance about it, and it became like a full blown like argument. Like I've never seen an argument like that happen in politics outside of like debates. But that's
Right.
like that's different because you're talking about two candidates who are trying to prove themselves, right? This was like literally two different countries being like, "Shut up, you suck. No, you suck. You shut up." Like that kind of a thing. And at one point, I think a reporter said something about like, "Zelensky, do you own a suit?" And he's like, "Oh, I'll wear a suit after the war's over." Like just like random criticisms being thrown out. And then I think somebody was
Yeah.
like, "Well, what happens if Russia breaks the ceasefire that you guys are trying to get?" And Trump was like, well, what if a bomb falls on your head? Like I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
what is this conversation that's happening? So now everybody's like, dude, like we're not helping Ukraine anymore. And it turned into this thing of like, instead of it being just, oh hey, like the deal fell through, it's now like, okay, well, Trump's saying that he wants to give everybody their money back from the Ukraine conflict. So along with this, have you heard about this bill that they're trying to pass about like giving everybody $5,000?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on top
Like a
of
tax
that,
rebate, right?
I guess so. I guess because they're getting rid of all the crap that people were spending money on, they want to give
Yeah.
everybody money back. But that
Uh-huh.
includes the Ukraine stuff now. So they're trying to give money back for
Oh.
the Ukraine stuff. But to me, that's so confusing because I think what people forget. So people are like, oh, we're giving money to Ukraine. We're not technically doing that, at least as far as I'm aware. A lot of what we do, um, we basically go, okay, we have all this equipment, whether it be missiles or vehicles or whatever, right? And it's all expired. Like if you're not aware, missiles have an expiration date. So at a certain
I didn't
point,
know that.
whether it be the fuel or the energetics, which is like the explosives, or even just like the structure of the missile itself, from things like thermal expansion and stuff like that, right? That stuff eventually you can't necessarily trust it. It'd be like if your car was supposed to last 30 years and you're like, well, it still works after 33, but I don't know if it's going to just break down all of a sudden, right?
Hmm.
Well, we have this equipment that's expired, and we're like, well, instead of trying to maintain it, let's just give it to a different country and test to see if that stuff still works. And if it does, whoop-de-doo. And if it doesn't, oh well, no harm, no foul. Like we don't really lose anything from it. It sucks for them, but it doesn't hurt us, right? And in
Yep.
return, we've freed up space for newer hardware, right? So um, we didn't necessarily like just hand them money for the most part. I'm sure we did do that sometimes, like just in the form of like humanitarian aid. Like here's money for food, here's money for medical supplies, stuff like that. But I don't believe we were just straight up handing them like billions. I think we were giving them billions in equipment and resources.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't really know how that works because the money that we gave to Ukraine went to like defense contractors, if you think about it. Because we basically went, here's our old stuff. We got to go buy new stuff. So hey Raytheon, hey Lockheed Martin, give us new crap, right?
Hmm.
So I don't really know how that works. I don't even know if it's gonna happen because that $5,000 like rebate or whatever you want to call it that they were talking about. I heard that they're drafting up a bill for that right now, and it should go through within the next few days. Which I'm like, I don't know how that's gonna happen. Like that doesn't seem like it's gonna be something
Yeah.
that just gets pushed through. But I mean, I'll take 5 grand.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm just curious what it's gonna do and like what the conditions are, because obviously it's gonna be some kind of tax bracket thing, I think, and then also like there's gonna be a bunch of fucking asterisks. I don't know. I can't say that word.
Asterisks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
asterisks on it, and
Dude,
yeah,
these
it's
freaking
cool in
planes.
concept, but
Yeah,
I can.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know if they're doing like military exercise or what. But I agree. There's probably going to be some strings attached to it. I do wonder, like, it is it going to be a thing where, like, based on the amount of taxes you paid, you get a certain amount, or is it going to be like everybody just gets a flat amount?
I would
Because
imagine, yeah, but it's also just it's such a crazy concept, and it's not like it's $1,400. It's like almost
it's
5 times
yeah.
that, you know.
Well, and so for context, did I tell you what happened with my taxes this year?
No.
I paid like 3 grand after I filed my taxes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was not fun. So it like this
How?
past
How did that work out?
so with me doing this stuff for the YouTube channel when I was uploading the TikToks, right? Um, I was getting paid for that, right? And um, because of it not being like taxed right then and there as I got paid, I had to pay the taxes on that afterwards, right?
Oh right,
Well,
yes.
last year when I filed, it was when I had just started my job, and so I didn't really have a whole lot of income. So it was just the money I was getting from the editing, and then
Hmm.
a little bit from my job. And so they were like, "You're not in a high enough tax bracket to pay a lot, so you're gonna pay like." I think I paid like maybe like 1.5 grand or 2 grand or something like that.
Hmm.
Well,
Hmm.
this year I would have paid even more than 3,000, but I had capital losses, so it took some of that off. But I still paid $3,000 in taxes, so like it kicked my butt. And mind you, that happens, and then I'm like, okay, well I've done it at the end of the month, and I got paid yesterday. Well, my paycheck just gone now because of that, because of taxes, and I have to pay rent today. So, um, luckily
Oh,
I'll be fine. Like I don't just like spend money like ridiculously. So like I'm not down bad right now. We're good.
okay,
But
good.
um, but yeah. So I dropped like 4 grand in the past like 2 days. Sucks.
God, dude,
It
that's the
sucks,
worst.
man. Yeah. So I'll take 5 grand. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
nice.
No, I know what you mean.
But yeah. I guess I mean we're about half an hour through this already. So I guess I'll go ahead and do a quick little ad break. So, support the podcast on Patreon. I believe we're gonna start opening up the gaming sessions to every patron. I think that was kind of the plan. Before it used to be if you paid $3 or more per month, then you would get access to those sessions. But we're gonna start opening up to every patron. Um, you get access to the podcast a day early. Um, and also, I mean, you can hop into the patron only chat on the Discord server. I will admit that general chat gets a little hectic sometimes with people talking about stuff that nobody cares about. So I prefer the patron chat. I don't get me wrong. There's plenty of good conversations that happen in the general chat, but I feel like we have a much tighter community in that patron channel. So it's a lot easier to keep track of what's going on in everybody's lives and stuff like that. I know like Cisco is always updating us on stuff, and that guy's wild. But so yeah, if you're interested in seeing the podcast a day early and getting access to that patron only Discord channel, please join the Patreon. And also use code DannyD for I believe it kind of fluctuates between like 10 and 30% off on G Fuel. Um, right now it's saying it's 10% off, so there you go. And then also use code DannyD for Fit Butters, which if you want to know what flavor to get you some. I believe it's the banana maple syrup or whatever. It's like a. Have you had Fit Butters, Genie?
Uh-uh. I see Danny having them all the time, but
Yeah, it's so they had this flavor. I don't know. I'm sure they still have it, but it's like literally it tastes like bananas and like waffles. It's so freaking good, dude.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm interested in trying that.
there it's not just like straight up peanut butter. They have like different types of nuts that you can get as well.
Hmm.
But is good stuff, man.
I always see him trying in the best shit, and I should also say I love that he's posting all these places on his fucking TikTok about with the hot spots to go into Mexico for food, and like I just wish that was LA, and I would be like, I'm going to that, but I'm not in
Yeah.
Mexico, so I can't. But
Well,
like, yeah, he's always got something.
yeah. I wish. So, I wish that I think I kind of mentioned it a while back, but so I'm hesitant to have bread.
Really?
Because yeah, because and I've learned more recently. I don't think it's necessarily bread. I think it might be like certain types of bread and then pasta.
Uh huh.
But especially during like my first year here, when I moved from Yuma, I was noticing like I was getting these really bad stomach aches when I would have like I don't want to say like gluten specifically because I don't know if it is because of gluten or what, but like if
Hmm.
I was having like certain bread products or pasta or whatever, right? I was getting really bad stomach aches, and so now I'm hesitant to have like toast or like a sandwich or something like that, right? Which I'll get into in a bit because we're gonna talk about food chains, but um, man, I'd be having freaking like fit butters on toast all the time if I could. Instead, I gotta eat it by the spoonful, and so
Mm,
I can't really like I I wish I could use it more often, but just because I'm scared about getting a stomachache that hurts so bad that I can't move for a day. That like
yeah.
it's the whole thing. Anyways, please go try Fit Butters if you have not had it, and also try G Fuel. Right now, I'm actually I don't think they have this flavor anymore, but it's called Mud Tooth's Tonic. Um,
Oh,
yeah, it's a peach iced tea. I'm not a fan of peach, and I like this one, so it tells you a lot.
very
Uh,
cool.
but as far as the Patreon goes, you are also able to ask questions that we will answer here on the podcast. I'm gonna see if there's any new ones that popped up, but the questions that we have, I wonder if any of them came from our newest producer, Isaiah Nichols, who is a tier 6. Thank you very much for that as well. Um, but we have, oh, actually, we do have a question from him. So we have 4 questions. The first one comes from Isaiah. He says, "What is your favorite part of filming Pollo Loco?" So that's for you, Genie.
Oh, I would say the progression of this might sound generic, but just in the experiences I've had with like shorts that I've directed or just like mini stuff, it's like 1 or 2 days. So you're coming in for a day and you're a team and everyone's happy and lucky and you really feel like over the course of 12 hours you're starting a bond, and then by the end of the day you feel close to all these people and you want to see them again, but then you never do because it's 1 day or 2 days. But Pollo Loco was 4, and repeating that for 4 days in a row, and really getting closer and really feeling it with every single person, um, and the team growing in confidence was something I still think about always. And it's like I'm friends with a lot of these guys on Facebook, and it just feels like that energy and that camaraderie never went away even years later. Like Nathan Bright, the special effects guy who did the. Are we allowed to talk spoilers or no?
Um, I honestly,
You know, special effects.
yeah, I would say just hold off on spoilers,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. I will just say if I said special effects, then you probably know what the hell the special effects
yeah.
was for.
Yeah, if you've seen it, you know exactly what he's talking about.
Yes,
If you don't, go watch it and find out.
yes. Um, yeah. So and several others too, and it's really cool. Melissa Church, I think, is as well. Like, I'm sorry, Sarah Upchurch, I think is her name, not Melissa. I don't know where the fuck I got that. I'm so sorry. That was I'm like, look, my brain is like photographic memory of like Facebook names, but like the feeling is there. Anyway, that was a great part. And just seeing us work better and better and better every day, the confidence we all had, and seeing that in Derek growing, and it was really cool. And the satisfaction of Giancarlo as well, like really pushing himself to the limit. Like if you look at the scene where he's like really getting emotional, there's a couple moments where he's getting emotional, but like the the the, the one with the super tight close up on him, towards the second half of the film, like he's really pushing himself to a crazy degree, and I was really like proud of him, and he was proud of himself, and it was just like you could tell he was really thinking about that moment and wanted to over deliver, and he did. He nailed it, and that was just so cool to see everyone proud and confident of themselves. And I know that's sounds happy go lucky, but like that's a good feeling when you're there. In terms of like a favorite scene or something, and maybe that's what you're implying. Where we changed up the ending a little bit, the location. I remember like we had a location at first for the ending that was like a bit out there, and it was sort of the intention was to fake it as it was by the chicken coop, which was in the opening shot, but we only had access to that chicken coop for that one day and that one morning. That was actually the first thing we shot, the opening shot of the film. And we had gone somewhere and tested on the end of the first day to shoot the ending scene, and it was just like super windy, like it was too open space, and just like it wasn't really working as well as it could have. And then when we changed the location to a house, we actually noticed the back for separate locations in the film, we actually saw the backyard is a perfect fake, which I don't know if that's been revealed, that we faked that it's not the chicken coop, and we made it look like, oh yeah, we could totally buy that's that's right next to each other, and it looks just like the environment. But no, it's two whole separate places, and seeing that work, setting that up on the spot, saying that's the shot there and that's how we'll fake this, that was really cool, and I'm glad that's worked out. So you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that. Is that? I wonder if
cool.
it's in the behind the scenes that got released. I'd have to watch, because I when did that get released? Was it last week? I need to watch that.
I think so. Yes, I saw that recently. It was like 30 minutes.
Yeah. Dang. Man, that's impressive. I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that question, Isaiah. Once again, that's our newest producer. So once again, shout out to Isaiah for that. Our next question is from Tommy Slays. He says, "What is your favorite Mel Gibson movie?" Honestly, I don't know. I gotta look up Mel Gibson movies. The only one I know is like I think Braveheart. And also that's is he talking about a movie that has him in it, or just a movie that's by him? Because if it's movies that are by him, I mean, because you got, Hacksaw Ridge, Apocalypto. No. I don't know. Do you have a favorite?
I mean, Braveheart's an easy one, but aside from that, like I know he was a producer or something or did he direct Passion of the Christ?
Yes, I believe he directed it.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I think that one stands out as a really unique one, just in terms of obviously its content is unique and interesting, but it's the feeling of viscerality and like it being a challenge or a gauntlet to watch it, especially as like a kid, because the nature of like the religion of it all and stuff, and I haven't really seen it since, and I'd probably obviously feel differently about it as a filmmaker now, and not as in tune with the faith, but like, yeah, I think for the legacy that has, that's got to be one. Obviously, Lethal Weapon is great. And yeah, I'd say Lethal Weapon and Passion of the Christ. I mean, if I can't say Braveheart, but yeah.
Because I think there's a second one that's coming out, right? Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, Resurrection. They're really trying to do. I think it's been in the works for so
Dude,
long, but there was
so
like location
crazy.
scouting or something right now. There's an article. Yeah.
That's because you ever heard that meme where it's like, if the Bible is so good, why is there not a Bible 2? That's what that reminds me of. It's stupid, I know, but yeah. I didn't realize. It totally slipped my mind. Freaking, have you seen Signs?
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite Mel Gibson movie right there, dude.
Oh right, he's in Signs.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And he plays or is the other guy the ex-priest or something like that?
I don't remember.
Struggle in that movie as well.
But yeah, that's what I would say. So the reason why I didn't realize it is because I actually get Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix mixed up.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because I was thinking I was like, oh, who's in the Johnny Cash movie? And it's Joaquin Phoenix, not Mel Gibson. Um, which is really confusing because the Johnny Cash movie is called Walk the Line, and there's a Mel Gibson movie called On the Line.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So yeah, that's confusing, but whatever. Um,
The Signs is a great answer.
yes,
That.
yeah, that's such a good movie, dude. Um, I always see like memes of people taking that clip where he's like watching the TV.
Mhm.
I think it's Joaquin Phoenix is watching the TV. And you see something happen on the screen. I won't spoil it, but he kind of jumps back and gasps, but they'll replace it with like random stuff. And I somebody put something about Michelle Obama on there once, and it kind of
Mhm.
kind of got a chuckle out of me. I won't get into it, but there's some good memes that come from that movie. Um, so this one, I think the next two questions actually do apply to both of us, but definitely more so to you. So these are our Last of Us questions. Um, so I'll answer this one first, just because I know my answer will be shorter. Um, so it says this is from Anthony. He says, "How would you handle the situation at the hospital if you were Joel, and why?" And honestly, this might be controversial, but I probably would have just let it happen, dude. Because I would hope that they could cure it. That'd be cool. Although I want to say the reason why people were like justifying him actually doing what he does, um, it's because they had promised, oh yeah, well this person could be used to help cure, this outbreak, right? And every time that they've promised that, nothing's ever happened. And so it's like, why let this girl die for something that isn't necessarily a guarantee? Like, sure, it could help, but there is no guarantee that it will. And she's just a girl. Like, let her grow up and like have a life, you know.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I think for the greater good, I would have just let it happen, which is messed up, but it's that's how I see it. So
I've never tried to ask that question to myself, like really deeply and like look at it. But I just, on the surface, I just don't relate to the father-daughter relationship. Obviously, of Joel being not a father myself. Um, that said, I I feel like I would have liked to have known more about um what is Joel's opinion on the world, and like me personally, I would have looked at it more existentially and like, does humanity need to go back, and what do we have now that's like better or worse than what we had before? What do I miss? What am I going to miss from this world versus what am I going to miss from the old world? Because the implication of letting Ellie die and save the world is, in years time, you continue where you pick up where you left off. And if we were already on this bad track of sorts, at the time in 2013 when that came out, that wasn't like AI wasn't a thing. But like now, it's like, what happens if COVID 2 happens, COVID 20, and
yeah,
um, and you're in and it's, as ridiculous as The Last of Us, an extreme, and you're in a Joel Ellie position. Well, the question is going to come down to some guy who's, we have to hopefully trust. First of all, his view of the world is an opinion that's justified and whatnot. If he's going to choose to save Ellie, but then it's like, what is the stakes? Like, oh, we're going to go back to AI and like we're going to have another Elon, or is AI stopped? And what is like, is there a way to fix what we had prior? Is there a chance to save the world and redo it for the better? It is this, and sort of undo this punishment of sorts if the guy sees it as a punishment. That said, I don't have a daughter. I haven't had kids, and I kind of don't want to really deeply think about what that feeling is like, just because I don't want to set expectations up, and I really would like, if that happens, for me to like happen naturally and like catch me off guard, because I think that's part of the beauty of loving your child authentically and all that, and not set expectations up, and because then it fucks with you, I think. But anyway, I probably would have let Ellie die. Sorry.
Dang, so we're on the same page. Wow.
We're-
So
yeah.
I do think the way that you worded it, like as far as your explanation, it did make me realize, like, yeah, if I was in Joel's position, right,
Mhm.
at that point, he's not on like the older side, but he is older, right?
Yeah.
Like he's at the point in his health where things are just gonna go downhill, right? It's not like he's gonna suddenly wake up one day and he's like, I feel like I'm 20 again. But like, I I think maybe the way he sees it is he's like, I don't have much time left, and I just want to be happy, and if that means being so selfish that I screw over the rest of the world, that's fine, right? If that's how
Mhm.
he sees it, I totally get it, because yeah, maybe he's like, why do I have to fix everything for everybody else? Like, what if we go back and this happens again, right?
Mhm.
This happened because people weren't doing anything about it. So, like, why does it matter if we go back? Because it's probably just gonna happen again. People won't listen, right? Um, and so maybe yeah,
That
he just takes a selfish route and just says screw it. Like I'm just gonna worry about myself. I think that's
that
fair.
said, I do think like looking at the entirety of Last of Us Part One, it's technically Ellie in the winter phase of the game, risked her life and went fought tooth and nail to save Joel with everything she could and knew how to do,
Mm,
and did it quite impressively and valiantly. And then Joel, like obviously the thing with that guy happened, the cannibal guy. Shortly after, and obviously Ellie's trauma from that, and Joel having to save her from that. It's sort of a subtle "I owe you" one, but like again, the I does the IOU one extend to the fate of the entire world? Like, do you still owe Ellie to save her life if the entire world is
Cause
is there, or
I
is it
can't
just
remember. Was she? Did she know that she was gonna die from this?
she never knew? I mean, she found out later. That's part two, but
And how did she feel about that? Was she just like, oh, okay, or was she like, oh, well, I'm glad
um,
that I didn't die? I think that might get into spoiler territory, but I don't know. I mean,
oh, you don't. So you genuinely don't know what happens
no, I
in.
don't. I haven't. You got to remember, I
Oh,
haven't
okay.
played either of them. I've only seen the show.
I can tell you if you want to know, but
Yeah, go for it.
it is a bit of a spoiler. So the midpoint of part two is you're seeing a handful of flashbacks to understand why is Ellie like this, and you're jumping in Last of Us Part Two, like something has happened here,
Hmm.
something has shifted between her and Joel. It's more than just Ellie being 4 years later and edgy, and something's it's less so about her having to do with her sexual identity and all that stuff, and more so about does she know something that we don't, which is which I love something the most about Last of Us Part Two is that it immediately creates this divide between player and protagonist,
Hmm.
because typically you're playing like Spider-Man or something, or even almost Red Dead Redemption 2. Actually, Red Dead Redemption 2, yeah, where you and Arthur are one and the same. You know exactly what Arthur's thinking and feeling, and like, yeah, he's coughing in here and there, and maybe that's a little bit of a surprise, but like, there's no secrets kept between player and protagonist. And in Last of Us Part Two, the entirety is secrets between you and the protagonist, and then you having to make the decision to continue to control despite those secrets, and this character that you love is essentially lying to you. But the relationship with Joel is kind of at the forefront of that, where it's like, why is she being a bitch to Joel here? Why is he kind of, oh, I'm sorry, I won't say too much. It's just like, what's going on? So you see through flashbacks that are tastefully done throughout the midpoint, that years prior to this, somewhere between that 4 year gap of part one and part two, Ellie has been questioning and wondering like what really happened at the hospital, because she woke up in the car driving home, and Joel, very like fresh out of killing a bunch of people, was just like, they there's more like you, and it's gonna be okay, and we're just gonna go back to Jackson, it's gonna be all right. And she's immediately picks up on that. The final scene of part one is like her testing Joel and saying like, swear to me that everything you just told me was true, because from what I understood my whole life, I'm the savior of humanity, and suddenly I'm not, and I'm a girl, and I have to live. Are you what? I'm just trusting you, some guy that I've fought tooth and
Yeah.
nail to survive with, and then so part two, it's her really testing that is like, would Joel lie to me? And then between those 4 years, she goes off on her own to the hospital, and she finds the records and walks through the bodies of the massacre, and sees the blood, and it sees like this crime scene of sorts, step by step, leading and following the trail that Joel did with these bodies and blood, and finds an audio recording that reveals, oh shit, she would have saved humanity, but it would have killed her. Essentially, the thing that Joel kept from her, and she's just in shock that um, she says this, big profound thing. My life could have meant something, and you took that from me, and it's something that she'll never forgive Joel for. And so then the entirety of part two, as revealed, I'm just spoiling the entire motivation. The entirety of part two is not Joel. Do you know what the premise of part two is?
No, all I know is that like I think she's into girls now. That's it.
That's it.
That's all I know.
And I'm leaving out the big thing. The big. You want to know the big thing? Like, this is like,
Sure,
I'm
yeah.
just, it's all out now.
Oh well, okay. I will say I know Joel's dead.
Okay, then there it is.
Yeah.
But he dies in the beginning, and
Yeah.
it's like you think this game is part two. We're back at it, and they advertise it as such, which was cool, or not for some. And yeah, he's dead, and so now the motivation is post death. Is Ellie avenging Joel here, or is she taking this as a chance for her life to mean something, since Joel took that from her, which is really what it is, first and foremost, because there comes a point of no return where it's silly to avenge Joel, and you've done the damage. You've killed hundreds. You've killed more than he ever killed in the hospital, and worse, and way cooler, and all that stuff. And what's fascinating about the game is it reveals this is not about just avenging Joel. That's been solved at fucking day 2 Seattle, day 1 Seattle, maybe even. But this is really about her life meaning something and regaining that control, and will she ever? And it kind of ends on a note of, I don't think you could ever. It questions, what is purpose in life, and what is like motivation, and and it, I don't know. It's something. I could just I need to stop talking.
You're good.
Yeah, it's a
Well,
really powerful personal question. I love it.
we do have another Last of Us question, so maybe you can get into it a little bit more. But so
Okay.
Super Dude. Also, thank you, Anthony, for that question, because that clearly went deep. But Super Dude asks, "Is The Last of Us Part 2 an overhated game?" And then follow-up question: What is another game you think that's overhated?
I think it's absolutely overhated. That's ridiculous. I think people should give it a chance, and it's I will say, I've said this many a time. Nobody hated Last of Us Part 2 more than me the days leading up to it. I knew the
Wow.
leaks. I read it all. I saw it all. I was shit talking it. I was like, God, Naughty Dog ruined it. They failed us. Like, what the hell happened? And that was the product of leaks, out of order. I didn't know the story structure of the game, but I was just so depressed that week that it came out at the time, because that was pandemic, that I was just like, God, I just wish I had a game to like immerse myself in. And the one undeniable thing about Last of Us Part 2 was the combat, and the gameplay was just, it looked so cool, and it's so smooth. And I was like, fuck a bad story. I just want to kill people. And if it looks that fun, I'm sure they'll nail that part at least. And then seeing the structure and the experiencing it from which is actually something that Neil said when the leaks came out. He's like, I'm so sorry for the reactions and everything like that, and all that, but I promise you, nothing compares to playing the game yourself in the order that it's meant to. And that would, when that comes out, you're reading it like, oh, that's bullshit. Whatever. He's just trying to save whatever life he has left. But no, that changed my whole perspective, my whole life, and now I was so proven wrong, and I think if more people give it a chance like that, you'd find a lot of happiness. But yeah, it's unquestionably overhated,
Aren't
and
they
I think it's done a lot for the game. Yeah,
aren't they coming out with some new it's like a space type of game or something like that? Isn't that what they're coming out
yeah.
with? And I heard that people
In
were crapping on that as well, but I don't even know when it's coming out.
yeah, that's just in development. I will see what happens with that. I mean, it looks
And
cool. It's got yeah.
okay, I was gonna say any thoughts, but it seems like there's just not a lot of information now. Or
I want to hold my tongue. I think.
Jesus.
Sorry. Sorry. No, I don't mean that in a bad way. I just, I'm happy to admit how wrong I was proven about Last of Us Part Two, and like I don't
Oh,
want to make judgment calls about this. I will say the cast is cool. Hallie Gross is a star in it, and Hallie Gross is one of the co-writers. Is the co-writer alongside Neil Druckmann of Last of Us Part Two, and I think she's one of the best writers.
okay.
And so it's really cool to see her actually acting as well. Kumail Nanjiani's in it. A lot
Oh
of other
wow.
people, yeah, a lot of people are in it, and it's like, okay, well, let's see what they do. I thought it was very Guardians of the Galaxy, and any kind of hesitancy I have about Intergalactic at the stage we know about it right now is just I'm not a Guardians of the Galaxy fan, and that's just because of the emphasis on the needle drop and the cool, all that, and I'm just not a big Guardians of the Galaxy guy. I did not know that that's where Naughty Dog was going to go with their next IP. I actually I'd heard rumors about like something medieval, and I was like, okay, into that, but like space, I'm not against. I'm gonna play it. Yeah, we'll see what happens, but yeah,
Okay. I obviously don't have any opinion on whether The Last of Us Part Two is overhated because I have not played it.
yeah,
I can see the criticisms people have with the game. I can see why people think those criticisms are dumb.
yeah.
Um, but that follow-up question of another overhated game, I'm gonna fall back to my number one. Okay,
Hmm.
why do people crap on Fallout 4 so much, man? I don't understand it. I remember like my first month at my job, I was like I have this guy at work. I call him my handler because he makes sure I don't get in any trouble.
Uh-huh.
But he comes in. He was like, yeah, I actually like I play like I think he was saying he plays like RTS games and stuff like that. He's like, I don't really know what games are out there. Like, I want some challenging stuff. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, if you want challenging, you could play like an FPS or something like that. Like those usually have a pretty
Uh-huh.
high like barrier to entry because it takes a lot of skill. And he's like, oh, I'm not really into stuff like that. I'm into more of like RPG stuff. And I was like, play Fallout 4. And some of the
Mm.
engineers, they looked at me and they were like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, you're gonna have him play Fallout 4? If he's gonna play a Fallout game, have him start with the Go Run. And I'm like, dude, Fallout 4 isn't bad, and also it's probably a lot easier to get into for someone who hasn't played the other
Yeah.
ones. People crap on the game so much because well, it doesn't have the RPG elements of New Vegas, and I'm like, dude, literally, like if someone hasn't played New Vegas and they need to get introduced to the RPG genre as a whole, that is the game to start with because
Uh-huh.
it has a really easy dialogue system. It's very easy to follow and make choices and know what you're actually deciding on.
Mhm.
The gunplay is phenomenal. Did you know that in Fallout 3 you couldn't aim down sight?
No, I
Yeah,
did not.
in Fallout 3 you couldn't do
What?
that. Yeah, if you ADS, you just zoom in. You're holding the gun like this. You don't go like this. Your gun's just like this.
Oh.
So in New Vegas, they changed that. Now you ADS, but they can't go back and add that to Fallout 3. The only way you can get that feature in Fallout 3 is if you download a mod that combines Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3, and it basically just runs 3 on New Vegas's engine. It's called Tale of
Mhm.
Two Wastelands. It's fun, but it's the only way you're gonna get ADS in Fallout 3, and you can't sprint in those games. You can't sprint.
Mhm.
Fallout 4, you can sprint. Like it feels like a huge step forward for that series,
Mhm.
and I definitely wouldn't recommend going back and playing Fallout 1 and 2 if you've never played any of the Fallout games and you're not into the lore, because Fallout 1 and 2, it's like a top-down 2.5D like isometric game where you're just pointing and clicking. Like it's a whole different game. The story's great. I think the atmosphere is great, but those games are not nearly as easy to get into compared to Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is so overhated, and it's mainly because people who were like, I played New Vegas when I was 12, and I have such fond memories. And it's like, dude, first off, different developers, and also like, imagine if you had New Vegas's story and dialogue in the Fallout 4 engine. It would be so much better, and then people would be like, yeah, I'll play New Vegas. But one, modders are already doing that, and it's taking forever. And two, Bethesda's not going to do a remaster anytime soon. So, like, take what you can get. But I will say Fallout 76 deserves all the hate that it got. A different thing. But what are your thoughts? What is another game that you think is overhated?
Interesting. Well, I should say Fallout 4 is a great answer. Because Fallout 4 was actually my first Fallout game. I'd never gotten to play 3 or New Vegas because I was in high school and I wasn't able to play. I didn't have access to M-rated games. So when Fallout 4 came out when I was 18 and in college, it was my first experience with Fallout. And you know what? I liked it. It was fun. I put a lot of hours into that. I can't remember much of the story. I will say it was pretty jumbled, but in terms of gameplay and discovery, yeah, it was good. In terms of another overhated game, I think the other one that is low-hanging fruit and most recognizable is Death Stranding, but I will say I think people are starting to change their opinion on that, and it's really withstood the test of time, and I think that nobody's necessarily hating on Death Stranding 2 coming out, and I think it's now a cool thing, which I just want to say I was so fucking ahead of that. I have
He's gonna pull out the baby.
My Halloween costume for the last 4 years in a row. I don't give a fuck. It's like better late than never, I guess. But like, Jesus Christ, like at the time, 2019, I would say that's that's way too overhated. But I'm glad it's changed. I will say one thing that didn't have hate when it came out, but has kind of become made fun of. And I wouldn't say hated necessarily, but just not as like respected as it should. Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain.
From Quantic Dream, the David Cage game. The guys that made Detroit Become Human.
Whoa.
The Detroit-based game. Their first PS3 exclusive. Interactive drama is what they called it. And you play that game now. Okay, it's not aged well in a lot of parts.
Yeah, I know this game.
The performances are cheesy. It's the one where it's like, Jason!
Yeah.
Jason!
That's what I know, yeah. Jason! Yeah.
I think...
It has a 9 out of 10 on Steam, though, dude.
Oh, yeah. It's, if you could get past the quirks and how it's aged, like, it's... Dude, it's a fucking masterpiece. I love that game to death. And, like... They had that was when the PlayStation Move was just fresh and new and cool. If you guys remember that.
Oh, PlayStation Move. Was that like the Kinect?
I have my sticks. 1 second. I keep it under my nightstand as if it's something else. But 1 second.
Dude, this is crazy.
I have here we go.
Oh, that thing, dude. Yeah, with the light up balls. Yeah.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
That's actually, wow, what a throwback, man.
Yeah, so you could play with Heavy Rain with the Move, and you still can, which is like super cool and really fun. I mean, I think you use those same sticks, like an updated version for the PSVR anyway, so it's not too forgotten. But the twist, the ending of that game. If you don't know the twist of it, do you know the twist?
No, I don't even really know the story of the. I just know the Jason meme.
Oh my God! Okay, that's okay. That validates my point. For me, I was in 7th grade when that came out, and I didn't have access to M-rated games, so I would be watching parts on YouTube, and that ending of that game at the time. And even still now was just so shocking and so like one of the best twists, if not the defining twist of all time. It's like it's a Saw level, if not better than Saw level, dare I say, twist at the end of the thing. And it's just the reveal of who the killer is, just having gone through the game and just the way they reveal it is so incredible. And there's a lot of there's so much good in that game, and I know it's funny and quirky in times, but it should be respected. It's foundational. We wouldn't have so many choice-based games without it. By the way, Detroit obviously would not be able to be in existence, and people, I think, pretty much love Detroit collectively. Same with Beyond Two Souls, but games like As Dusk Falls, I'd say the Walking Dead games from Telltale wouldn't be what they are without Heavy Rain. All of Telltale, and just so much. Yeah, that's my answer. Heavy
Dang.
Rain.
Wow. Okay. A lot of lore there apparently.
Yeah.
Uh, but okay, cool. So before we move on, I do want to say with the Patreon, we do actually do giveaways. Um, so Danny's not here to send them out. He says he'll be out next week to reach out and send those out, but there's going to be 3 packets that are being given away since we didn't have a gaming session today. So those are going to go to Super Dude, Cisco, and Atov, or A to V. I don't know how you say that. But congrats. I hope you guys enjoy your G Fuel. Like I said, you'll be reached out to next week. So, on the topic of games, okay, we have a couple topics on this actually. So, have you been playing Black Ops 6 at all?
Here and there. I a couple months ago I was. I haven't played it this past month, but I put some good hours into it.
I don't blame you for not playing it recently because this past season has been not great. They have a collab going on with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is kind of a cool thing. Like I think the way they handled it is probably one of the best. It's one of the best collabs they've done in a while. Like I hated that Squid Game one. It was so bad.
That's about where I stopped.
Yeah. This one they have like a mode for zombies called Cowabunga Cranked, and it's just cranked, but there's like some power ups that are. You know what cranked is?
Yeah, I think so. It's like it's sort of like a gun game, but a little bit different.
So this is for zombies. I don't know if they have it for
Oh,
for multiplayer, but it basically you have a time limit, but your time gets extended for every kill that you get.
okay.
So if your time goes out, then the game ends. But it's just regular zombies as well. So if you go down, like game's over, right?
Mhm.
So it's a pretty hectic mode. Kind of forces you to play fast. But you'll get these power ups that it's like a pizza slice. I think I explained this on the last episode, but you get a pizza slice, and if you pick it up, you get more time. And then if you get a pizza box, it gives you even more time. And there's an announcer, and it's I'm not sure if it's just one of the turtles or if it's all of them, but you'll hear them have little quotes and stuff like that. It's kind of cool.
Nice.
I think it's more of what they should do is they should give you modes that are related to the actual like theme of the season, but they aren't like I guess gimmicky. Like Cranked is a mode that's existed in the past, right? Like it's a thing that has existed, and they're just giving it a little bit more flair. And it doesn't. It's not like the Squid Game mode where it's literally just like, yeah, we're just throwing this in your face. Like it still feels like I'm playing a regular mode. It just has a different theme to it, which is really cool.
Yes.
And also, if you complete the Easter eggs for the zombies maps in that mode, you actually get like free gobblegums and some other rewards and stuff like that. So it's like it incentivizes you to play
Cool.
those modes, and it doesn't feel like it's overbearing. It's really cool. But it's one of the shortest seasons that I think I've seen from one of these games in a long time. Usually they will do a longer season and then sometimes even extend it because it takes too long to get stuff out. And the map is okay for zombies. The ice staff sucks. They brought the ice staff back and it's not very good. But I don't know. I mean, I've expressed my I guess distaste for this season, but next season could be really good, and I think you will be very excited about it. Verdansk is supposed to be coming back.
That's next season?
I believe so.
Oh.
That's what I'm hearing. That's what I mean. I'll double check. Like that's like I said, it's what I've been hearing. But it says it's expected to arrive with season 3. But they're adding double tap back to zombies.
Mhm.
So people are really stoked. They're
Cool.
saying the Wonder Waff might come back for zombies as well. So it looks like it might be a good season. But here's my biggest complaint: because I haven't had a reason to play Black Ops 6 because the season's been so bad.
Uh-huh.
I spent 1,100 COD points on the Battle Pass, and I can't get them back now because I have to complete the Battle Pass to get those COD points. So I'm like, man, like, do I really want to spend money on another Battle Pass? Like, unless it's really good, like, I have no reason to. I don't know. Do you think Battle Passes are kind of just not worth it? Like, especially for Call of Duty, they don't really have any good rewards in there. It's like most of the time they'd
Yeah.
rather you just buy a bundle because you get exactly what you want, and they don't really do any cool stuff for battle passes as far as like keeping with the theme. Like you don't get like, for example, if they had a way for you to get one of the Ninja Turtle skins in the battle pass, sure, I would buy the battle pass because then I know I get the skin that's related to that season. People know I was there for that season.
Hmm.
Whereas if it's some generic thing where it's like this guy has a skull for a face, I'm like, what season was that? Was that during Halloween?
Oh
No.
God, dude, that's so true.
Yeah.
That's
So
so true.
yeah, I think. I mean, I've never really liked battle passes, but I think I'm just done buying them. I
You could do like a game show, I mean, style thing of like, okay, what season of Call of Duty is this skin from?
Oh, absolutely,
Like,
dude.
and
Holy
it's
crap,
just
yeah.
like, I couldn't tell you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but it just proves like there's, yeah,
Or even just
you're
was this
exactly right.
black cell or not? And like some of them you can tell they're black cell because they have that like orangish glow and stuff like that, right? But sometimes I'm like, that's black cell? Like that just looks like a cooler
Yeah,
version of the skin that you gave us for free.
yeah, and
Like
even then, the black cell thing is just so.
I don't get why that's a thing. Because I'm like, okay, first off, you have bundles that we spend money on. We have the battle pass we spend money on. Now you guys are doing this extra upgraded version of Black Cell that is like basically pay to win because you can get access to the newer weapons earlier because I think it gives you like a boost in the battle pass if I'm not wrong. But then now they're doing the thing where you can pay for an extra tier of the event pass. So when they have an event
Right.
like for the Terminator, you pay for this extra pass. And I'm like, this is stupid. You guys are nickel and diming us for a bunch of crap. It's like, and then it's limited time. Helldivers
Yeah.
had its issues, right? But the thing that I will always give them credit for is they make it so that the battle pass you can go back and get an old one. Like you can go and get credit for it, right? Instead of being like, oh, it is limited. Sorry, you didn't play. You're screwed. Like, I think they said something about that being a feature in this game in Black Ops 6, but I don't think it applies to things like COD points. I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
Yeah, no, definitely not. It's an interesting model to have a battle pass that on the premise like takes advantage of the anticipation and just like trust of the gamer to be like, all right, yeah, whatever season 3 is going to be, I'm just going to get the battle pass. I know it'll be good. And then they do some shit elsewhere and the game just sucks. And so
Yeah.
you don't play the game and you don't finish the battle pass, and then season 4 comes around, has a better battle pass or something, or fixes the issue of that season 3, and you now have to pay. You don't have the COD points that you're
Yeah.
gonna earn through the battle pass to pay. You're exactly right, and I'm in that situation as well right now. I don't think I bought this season 2 because it was just like, yeah, it's skull on the face. What is this? Like what am I even? Am I
Yeah.
gonna play this? I'm like asking.
Well, and I don't even know what the theme is for this one. Like, dude,
Yeah.
if they were gonna do stuff like Terminator, like throughout the season, where it's like these sci-fi, imagine if they had a Terminator event, a RoboCop event, and like a couple other
Yes.
things that were sci-fi, and they had a sci-fi theme for the battle pass. I would have totally done that. But they don't have. They
Yeah.
have no coherence in the. Or is it coherence or cohesiveness or whatever? I don't know what the word is. I'm frustrated. With the theme of the battle pass, it's just like, yeah, our theme is samurais. Oh, by the way, here's a thing for a robot from the future. I'm like, what does this have to do with samurais? That's the way they do it, and it's like, make the events fit with the theme, because then it feels like, dude, we're in sci-fi territory now. Oh, now we're in medieval territory right now. Like, it seems like they don't. I know I'll whine about this every freaking week, but they don't know what they're doing, man. They don't know their audience. They just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And then when something does stick, they go, "Oh, okay, we'll save that for later." And they never do it again. They don't do that. I just oh, I hate it. I hate it. I
Yeah.
hate it. This is why I play nothing but Fallout 4, okay? Because that game is done. I can get mods for it. I can do whatever I want. With Call of Duty, they just ruin it every
Oh
freaking
yeah,
season.
dude. Oh yeah. I mean, the only games I'm playing right now is really Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero. I'm sorry.
No way.
Yeah, no, that's my. I play that every day. Guitar Hero Aerosmith. I'm really into
Yeah.
that. But like, I like to. I'm a completionist on that shit. So I got 5 stars on expert on all the songs on
Is
Guitar
it
Hero Aerosmith.
is it Guitar Hero 3 where they have Through the Fire and Flames?
Yeah, I obviously cannot 5 star that, but I can play it on expert. I've completed the song on expert. Which is
Wow.
great. Yeah, that's my proudest achievement. And that was a very intense night, and I stayed up until I did it, and it was beautiful. I was
Dang,
so proud.
dude.
But like I have 5 stars on every song. Guitar Hero Metallica. That's not easy. That's I'm really proud of that one. But yeah, no, that's just what I'd be doing because it doesn't fuck with me. It's like Black Ops 6 fucks with me.
Yeah.
Why is it like why am I questioning myself?
So, when you play Call of Duty, do you play mouse and keyboard or do you play controller?
Mouse and keyboard. I mean, we have it on PS5 as well, so we just kind of, if I want to sit on the couch and like sometimes if I'm doing like a work call that I really don't want to be on, and I just gotta like sit and listen with camera off, and I'll just be like, I don't I want to do anything but this. I'll just do Nuketown 24/7 and play and just like mindlessly do that till it's over.
Yeah.
Just like comfort food of sorts, but
Yeah.
comfort gaming. I don't know. I'm optimistic about Verdansk, but I will say that is you can't fuck with us on Verdansk. That's like sacred territory.
And
That's holy ground.
they did say they are changing some components of the layout, I believe. Small
Okay.
things. I don't think it's significant things. I think it's things people didn't really care about, but it's still Verdansk.
Okay, we'll have to
We'll
see,
see.
but
Yeah. And then I guess the next game that's coming out is Black Ops 7. I'm 100% serious. I just want if it would be one thing with this freaking Battle Pass crap if they had it as just one game. That's one thing that I will give to Fortnite. It's one game. If you play it, it's the same game if you play it 3 years later. Okay? Things have changed, don't get me wrong, but all your stuff from when you played 3 years ago is still on there. I have stuff like skins from when I was in freshman year or maybe sophomore year of high school. I have an astronaut skin from like season 3. So if Call of Duty would just do that, okay, I would be completely happy. Oh, but then the game's gonna be like 400 gigs. Freaking compress crap then, dude. Why is your game so unoptimized? I don't get it. I don't get it. Destiny had that issue. They were like, oh, our game's gonna be too big because we had too much stuff in it. Fortnite can do it, man. Why can't you? Why can't you? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Just stop complaining about, oh, it's so hard to compress things. Do your job. That's your job. Okay? We're paying $60, $70 now for these games. Make them worth our while. Make them actually run. One of the problems people are talking about, oh, my graphics card's not good enough. Yeah, it's not your graphics card's fault, okay? If you go back and play a game from 2007 on your graphics card that you got in 2025, it will demolish that freaking game, okay? It handles it just fine. Why is it that games have no significant change in graphical fidelity and they still run like crap?
Yeah, just poorly optimized, and you know, people show like those TikToks. I don't know how real that is, and how much that actually correlates to the performance of the game, but like they render this entire wide scale map for just a small square of like a Nuketown sized multiplayer thing.
Yeah.
But then when you're loading in, it's like you're loading into Verdansk to play in one part of Verdansk. And it's like why is that?
And I understand that what they're doing there, they're using level of detail to make sure that the other crap isn't rendered in at a high level of detail, right? Like it's not it's not like you're literally seeing everything as if you were like standing right next to it. Like it's all low quality, right? But why? Like why can I literally go like I think that someone was like I want to say it was Merrick Music. He was like, "Yeah, I found the zombies map." And everyone's like, what? He's like, yeah, the zombies map for season 2. Like, you just go out of the map in theater mode on this map, and you can find the zombies map.
Wait, what in the world?
Yeah. I was like, I was like, really, dude?
So do you think the game operates like loading in this giant like map, and you just dragged and dropped as a player into different parts, but it's all loaded up, and like maybe
Yeah.
that's how it like
Yeah, that's
works?
literally how it works. So, you know what's crazy? So, I don't know how much of Minecraft you've played. I don't know if you ever really got
How
into it.
much?
But
How much? Oh,
so Minecraft is kind of known for just running like complete garbage. It's gotten better as time has gone on, but like you can't see very far unless you turn your render distance up. When you turn your render distance up, it ruins the performance of your game. And somebody made
interesting.
a mod where I think they were saying so it's like 16 chunks is generally what you would have as like a pretty decent render distance, and 16 chunks. It's if each chunk is 16 blocks wide. Um, what is that? 16 times 16. So you see 256 blocks away. Well, a block is a meter, so you can see like a quarter of a kilometer away,
Mhm.
right? Which isn't really that far, right? So imagine you're running around and there's a mountain that's, you know, 500 meters away, but you can't see it because your game doesn't render that far, right?
Mm.
And so you're walking around and you finally get within render distance of this mountain and it just appears. That's a bit jarring, right?
Yeah.
They have a mod that's called Distant Horizons that adds in level of detail so that you can still see those structures, but it doesn't ruin your performance, right? And
Uh-huh.
it's like simple things like that would make the game so much better, but the devs won't add it in. It's like these people who aren't even being paid are making this for free and they're making your game better. Like that should tell you either hire that person or make your devs do a better job. Like there's to me there's no excuse for it. There's people who are doing this stuff for free and they're doing a
Yeah.
better job. People who are getting paid 60, 70, 80, sometimes $150,000 a year. Like I
Yeah.
don't know.
I mean, that's the case with some modders. Like, there'll be a modder that makes a game, makes a Skyrim mod or something like that, and then the mod is so successful that it becomes its own game. The Forgotten
Yeah.
City is an example of that, and it's a great game. And there's the case with the 5M guys on GTA,
Yeah.
where they're now like, I guess Rockstar like took them in, and now they're helping out Rockstar with some stuff. Is that right?
I don't know. I did hear something about they were acknowledged. Let me see if they it's saying 5M and Redem are now officially a part of where does it say it? Officially part of Rockstar Games. So to
Very
me
cool.
that sounds like are they gonna integrate GTA RP into GTA 6?
Dude, how could you not? How
Like
could you not?
because it was so successful, dude. Like I mean that was
Yeah,
all that XQC was playing for like months. That was
right.
how I found out about him, dude.
And then like imagine though they didn't, because what has GTRP just done? No, it's now people still playing GTA 5 more than they're playing GTA 6 because
Yeah.
of the RP. It makes no sense not to, I don't think. But
Yeah.
maybe we wanted to talk about that anyway. But so what were your thoughts on GTA 6?
I'm
What
not
do you
gonna
want
get
to say?
it.
Why is that?
They're saying it's gonna cost $100 or something like that, and it's not gonna be on PC during the first year. And honestly, dude, unless the multiplayer is like actually fun, right, and it's not full of hackers, like what's like I'll play the story and maybe get mods for it, and that's it, right? But like, there's not. It's gonna be pretty much just like real life simulator, and at that point, I should just go outside. Like, I don't think there's anything that I can truly like experience in that game aside from blowing up cars, right?
Mhm.
That I can't experience in real life. Like the fact that I have to drive across a whole city to get to an objective, it's like it's not really my thing. Like whereas in like not to bring up Fallout 4 or Skyrim for like the 80th time, but in those games like I can't experience fighting a giant lizard
Mhm.
with like a plasma gun or like casting spells and turning a
Mhm.
block of cheese into a gold ingot or something. Like
Mm.
I can't do that in real life, right? That's why those games are are more interesting to me is because you can do things that you can't do in real life. Whereas in GTA, it's like literally the point of it is to be realistic. There's a lot of funny stuff in those games. Like the radio stations in GTA 5 are hilarious, right?
Hmm.
Um, I mean, you can get like a flying motorbike. Like it's like a, I think you can get a DeLorean in GTA 5. Like you can get those really cool vehicles and stuff. But once you've gotten them, you play with them for like 5 minutes and it's just over. Like it's whatever, you know.
Mm,
Um, so and like GTA does have a lot of appeal to me. Like I do like GTA 5 a lot, and GTA RP
yeah.
was a lot of fun too. But at a certain point, it's like I mean, why am I playing this if I can just go? I can go outside, right? I think GTA RP was so big during the pandemic because people couldn't do that. They couldn't go outside, so that was a way to sort of
It's a really good point.
simulate that. And I mean, obviously with extra stuff like the fact that you could go and cook meth in GTA and then sell it, right? Like, you know, there was more to it than real life, but it was like you could sort of still give yourself a role, and then people started streaming it, so they're making money off of it. So it was basically like here I am pretending to be a person in a video game, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
getting paid for it. So it's basically like I'm doing that as my job. Like I'm like
Yeah.
you were cooking meth in this video game. Well, now it's your actual job
Mhm.
because you are actually getting paid for it. This is how you're paying for your food and your rent and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
um,
Did you hear about Grand Theft Hamlet?
I did hear about that. I have not
Yeah.
seen it, but
Uh-huh.
people were saying it was like actually enjoyable.
It was. I saw it in the theater, and it was really good. It's fun. It is very much trying to abide by the rules of its own game, which is like make sure the movie is only in GTA, as in like
Yeah,
it's a machinima of sorts. And it works in parts, like, there are obviously some staged moments, but the heart in it and just the concept and to see a machinima in a theater is like, I mean, that was kind of cool, and I think that should be done again. I think that
yeah,
was an important experiment, but and obviously resonated well with audiences. But yeah, you're exactly right, and it's cool that like a movie like that was even made from that time.
yeah.
Um,
Well, and I mean, was it Red versus Blue? Like, didn't they get bought out by
oh, Warner Brothers, yeah, the Rooster
yeah,
Teeth guys and all that.
yeah. And so I do think that'd be cool if they did machinimas like that. I think there would be
Mhm.
some legal issues that come with that. Like you probably would have to get permission from I guess 343 now or even Microsoft because they own them. But like for example, if you're making stuff in Minecraft, you have to go, "Hey, Microsoft, or do you have permission to, release this as a film?" But
Right.
um I think that would be really cool. I think it's one of the most beautiful parts about like YouTube is people just did that. There wasn't any restriction on it because how do you regulate that?
Hmm.
Like they're not selling content, but there's ads on it, so they are making money from it. But it's like,
Hmm.
what's the harm? And I mean, people would do that stuff in like all kinds of games. Like I remember when I was like probably like 8, people were doing that in Toontown, bro. And that game didn't even have voice chat.
Holy shit, Toontown. Yeah.
Like, I think that's a very underrated part of like media is stuff like Red versus Blue, right? Um, where you know because they have to, as you put it, abide by the rules of the game they're in, right?
Hmm.
It creates these certain situations where it's like if you've played the game, you get the jokes, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I think that the concept's very cool, and I would definitely love for that to become more of a common thing. Like
Hmm.
uh, you have that end of the spectrum, and then you have freaking the Minecraft movie, which everyone's like, "What is this?" Like, like I guess the most recent trailer they released, a villager gets hit by a car. Like,
Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I have no idea where it's. I think, is it Jennifer? Is her name Coolidge? Is that what her name is? I don't know. Yeah, Jennifer Coolidge is supposed to have a romantic relationship with a villager from Minecraft. I don't I don't understand
Okay.
what this movie is going to be.
We'll see what happens.
Um so yeah, I think people people who are making these movies need to be people who actually play those games And if that means that they come out as machinimas, that's fine by me. But I want people who actually play the games to make these kinds of movies, because some
Mhm.
people, they're like, oh, here's this big IP. Why don't we just, make a movie with it and not actually care about the fans, but just make something that is related to the movie. I hope the
Exactly.
movie's better than I'm thinking it will be, but Jesus Christ, man, like it's not looking good so far.
I wonder if it has elements of like Barbie, where it's sort of like a commentary on its subject, on its source material. But
But
like,
do we
I
need
don't know.
that? Do we need that? Like, I don't know, man. Cause the way I look at it, there's people who have made like genuinely good stories using
Uh-huh.
Blender where it's about Minecraft. Like I saw one where this village had a an iron golem. You know what an iron golem is?
Uh-uh.
So it's like these I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like these creatures that are made of iron that will kill enemies to protect the villagers, right? And you can make them yourself, or when a village is generated, it naturally spawns them in. And the whole point is it's protecting the villagers, right?
Okay.
And so the story of this one was it was basically like this iron golem was fighting some enemy and it ends up chasing it down like a cave, and then it comes back after killing it and it sees the village has been destroyed, and it's been destroyed by a player. And so the golem is trying to go and fight this player, but the player is super OP because it's the protagonist, right? What a cool concept where you're seeing it from the perspective of an NPC.
What is that called? I want to see that. That
I
sounds
I
super
forgot what it's
cool.
called. I'd have to look it up. I'm about to send it to you later. Um,
Please do. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
but yeah, like it was, and I think it comes in parts. I think it's mainly like in shorts, like YouTube shorts. Um, but like it was being made in real time. Like the guy would release episodes as they were made, and
Wow.
it was like, it still followed the rules of the universe, but with like its own little twists. Like there's like a material that they added in a more recent update called
Uh-huh.
netherite, where it's like better than diamonds, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think they give the like he goes to the nether and he meets these pig people, and they give him this armor that's made of that material, and so now he's like super strong and he can go and fight this player. Like it's like that's a really interesting story to me. Like it takes place in the universe. It follows lots,
Yeah.
and it's not like it's not trying to be funny. Like it's a genuine story. Like I, somebody once again, somebody's doing that for free. I'm just saying,
Incredible.
man.
Incredible. Yeah, God, if I look up Iron Golem Minecraft movie or something like that, is that
Uh,
like
Let me see if I can
maybe
find
that's
it.
too
That'll be my
uh,
recommendation for this week, though, because
um,
I honestly like I haven't had the chance. Yeah, I look. It's called Gus's Escape, or
Gus
or
Escape.
or something
Okay.
like that. Or it's but well, it's part of a couple different. It's got I think it's got a few different names. It is not Iron Golem Revenge, where they have an Iron Golem that has boobs. That is not. It's, um, it looks like it's yeah, but it's I mean it's all made in the style of Minecraft. It's kind of like obviously it's meant for like kids probably, but like
Uh-huh.
I think those kinds of stories need to be made where it's you're like I think the closest we've ever gotten to that is like what Free Guy, and even then that wasn't really about video games, it was about like I guess it was more about like individuality and like
Uh-huh.
sentience. Like it wasn't even about the game, like it was I don't know. um but yeah, I think it's a really cool concept is machinimas being a more common
Yeah,
form of
exactly.
entertainment. But I know we had a topic about what food chain we can live on forever, so we'll go ahead and close out with that, and then we'll do our recommendations. So
Sure.
um I had Jersey Mike's 3 times in the past week,
Nice.
and I freaking love Jersey Mike's. I thought I couldn't have it because of the bread thing I was talking about, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it was just because I was having it at the same time as like a lot of other stuff that had bread in it, or if
Uh-huh.
it was like maybe I was I don't know if I was just having it like on the same day or around the same time as like pasta, and pasta is what makes me feel sick because I think pasta does still cause issues. But I've finally reunited with Jersey Mike's, and I'm so happy. I love Jersey Mike's, and I could eat it every single day if it wasn't so freaking expensive. It's like $20
Mm-hmm.
for a giant sandwich, and I can eat it in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I could live on that the rest of my life. What about you?
So what's your order at Jersey Mike's?
I get the original Italian, but I get it with no veggies because I'm a picky
Same.
like. But good sandwich, good sandwich.
I'll try that actually, because you and I have our cheeseburgers the same and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm like, if you say that's good, I'll try that. Yeah, I would love a good bacon cheeseburger with no vegetables and just fucking, yeah, meat, cheese,
Ooh.
bacon. And
A
I always think
baconator.
about,
Oh,
oh yeah,
that
dude,
sounds
those
so good right
guys,
now.
those things are so good. And like, whenever I'm in like whenever I'm traveling, and I just find like a place that looks like they know what they're doing with their burgers, and I just get that, and like sometimes it
They
just
know what they're
hits.
doing.
Yeah, the extra like thick bacon, like you get the Denny's bacon that's like just like, I don't know, about as thin as like a fucking
Oh
lime,
yeah.
and then you get like a bacon that's like as thick as like one of these, and it's like,
So
oh,
actually, it's funny you mentioned bacon because so when Danny was here, we got I don't know if you saw the video, but we got Taco Bell, and we got I had never had a breakfast crunch wrap, and we were gonna get McDonald's, and then McDonald's was like, I think he had asked for some croissant sandwich, and they were like, we don't have croissants,
what?
and he's like, okay, and so the lady's like, okay, well, what else can I get for you then? And I'm like, oh, I'll get a bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddle with like some hash browns or something like that. And he's like, oh, I'll get a sausage egg McMuffin. And we're sitting there, and then the lady just goes quiet, and like a minute passes by, and he's like, dude, screw this, I'm getting out of here. And he just reverses out. He was like, this is stupid. He was like, that lady is not even like she just stopped talking mid order.
Oh my
So he's
god.
like, this, I'm not waiting here for a sandwich I don't even want.
Oh
So
my
we go to
god.
Taco Bell, and I was like, what do they have? Like, I honestly don't even know what they serve here. And he's like, I'll get you a bacon, egg, and cheese, or bacon, cheese, whatever, crunch wrap. And I get it, and I bite into it, and I'm like, this just tastes like a bacon, egg burrito that I made at home. Like, it doesn't really taste all that
Mm.
great. But then I noticed there was like some seasoning in it and some sauce. And I was like,
Uh,
oh, I don't like this, man. I was like,
yeah.
but
I don't fuck with the sauces either, dude. That
yeah,
shit's.
but like, you ever like used like bacon bits to make like a bacon egg burrito or whatever, or like use bacon bits for like some kind of food, and it has that certain like fake bacon taste.
Yes.
That was how this
Yeah.
Taco Bell crunch wrap tasted, and I think that's what really
Uh,
turned me off from it. I was like, this isn't special. Whereas if strangely enough, if I get a bacon egg and cheese McGriddle from McDonald's, it's like I actually enjoy it a lot, not just because it's a freaking
mm,
McGriddle, so it's like basically just two pancakes with syrup and some bacon and egg and cheese in it.
yeah.
It's like actually good bacon. People are like, well, it's not real egg, and I'm like, it tastes like real egg. So like whatever, but the
Right.
bacon itself is the part where it's really hard to nail that down, so they have to use real bacon for it, right? So that's like, I think bacon's actually like a super important part of sandwiches and burgers, where you have to get it right, or else it's just
Yeah.
not good. It's not worth it. I'm not gonna pay $10 for fake bacon.
Oh yeah, dude. That's the
Yeah.
worst. Nothing's worse than fake bad bacon. Oh
Yeah.
god. 'Cause it really makes you feel like it's just. Or I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but like psychologically, it really fucks with me when someone gives me bad bacon. And I just am like, God, I really was looking forward to this, and what a disappointment that this is as ugly and thin and like, you okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay with this? Who's okay with it? Like, it's
Yeah.
just
It's well, it's
um
it's like I know during the pandemic there was a whole toilet paper shortage, right? And people were like,
right.
"Oh, like just take 2 ply and then just like split it. Now you have 1 ply." It's like they did that with bacon. It's like
Yes.
you're
Dude,
rationing bacon.
one ply, throw it in for oh God, I hate that more than anything.
Yeah.
Um but Yeah, I love
As
bacon
as
cheeseburgers.
as far as a food chain though, what do you
Mhm.
think you could live on? Like, would it be Wendy's then? Would it be like Five Guys? What would it be?
Oh man, Cane's at the top for sure.
Oh, I love that
Um,
answer. I love
yeah,
that answer.
Cane's is like I have that like at least 3 or 4 times a week. And then then below that, I'd probably do. I don't mind having Chipotle on there. That's fine with me. Let's see, some a good smash burger place, local. I don't know if it would be, but if it has to be a chain, then let me think. Um,
Now it could be a local chain. I'll accept that. So if there's
okay,
multiple of
okay,
those in where you're at,
okay. There's a place called like For the Win. It's like a good fast smash burger place. There's a handful around LA. I'm pretty sure.
nice.
There's
Oh, that's a thick burger right there, dude.
yeah, no, and when it just looks like it's just like dropped on the floor and thrown all over the place, and then somehow comes out still just as
Dude, I
tasty.
was thinking about ordering a pizza after this, but I might go get Wendy's now, dude.
Oh, dude, Prince Street Pizza. Have you had that before?
I've never heard of it.
Oh my God. Oh, that is the best pizza you'll ever have in your life. That is like, it's thick. It's like they
Oh, it's
sell
got
it.
a ton of
It's like
pepperonis on it, bro.
it's like $50 pizza, but it's like this giant like thing of like a deep dish thing, and it is immaculate. And
$50?
in LA
No,
at least like $40,
it
41.
says it's $10 to $20, but
Oh,
um
really? Do they have one near you?
oh wait, well this is in New York. Is it the same in LA? It's the same place. I don't think they have one near me. I mean,
If you get like a box of it, it's like $40 or $50 or something. 50 with like
nah.
butter.
Yeah, they don't have it here.
Oh,
Um,
dude.
there's
If
local
you're ever
pizza
like,
places here that I've been told to try. I just haven't because I don't trust
mm.
people.
Have you tried like hot honey and stuff like that?
No.
So Prince Street does like I was really weird about it like when I first tried it, but it's the best pizza ever. They add like some kind of multiple cheese thing and then like a hot honey drizzle and then like these pepperonis that like are cups like that close in of sorts, and then like they're just it's so thick and good, but you like gain literally like probably 5 pounds from having like 4 slices, but it's. Oh, dude, that's number one. If nothing bad happened to me for having that every day, that would be what I have every day.
I'm definitely getting
Oh.
Wendy's after this, man. I need
Yeah,
to go get a burger,
sorry.
bro. It's been a minute since I've had a burger as well. And I'll just say Little
Really?
Caesars. Yeah, dude.
You don't have burgers that often?
No, it's mainly because like, so I'm not a huge fan of burgers in the first place. Like, I don't want a burger from McDonald's. That's just gross. I'm sorry, but their meat patties are just sad.
Mm.
Um, and then like I'm not gonna go to Burger King either because it's Burger King. Um,
Mm.
but like Wendy's is, for the longest time, the only way for me to get to Wendy's is I had to go through this freaking roundabout, and there's this roundabout that I didn't like, and we finally went through it, and Danny was like, "Oh, I get why you get confused." He's like, I know what they're trying to do, but they usually don't put arrows in front of roundabouts. That's really stupid." Um, so there was like a left turn arrow in a roundabout.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I'm like, but it goes one way.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he's like, what they're trying to say is if you get into that lane and you're in the roundabout, you're going to make a left turn when you get to the end of it. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm going to make a left turn? That doesn't make any sense. Because if I'm going to come out of the roundabout, I go,
yeah.
right?
So you can only make a right turn, but it's implying that like after the right turn that you're gonna make, you're really just gonna
Like,
make a
it's super weird. And
That's
so in
so
order to get to Wendy's, I had to either go through that roundabout or I had to go through this really busy street where you can't really see very far around. And so there's traffic that'll be coming through, and it's coming through at like 50, and you can't see them until they're like,
Oh my God.
2 seconds away from where you be going through. So like you have to gun it through there. Well, I found out there's another way to get over there, and it's a much easier. Well, I have like really bad like driving anxiety if it's like fast paced and I have to like gun it. I hate doing that because
Uh-huh.
one, Like if I get hit, I'm gonna get hit hard. And two, like I don't want to be that idiot who's sitting there for like 4 minutes trying to get through somewhere because I'm
Uh-huh.
scared, right?
Uh-huh.
So I found a much easier route where it's pretty much all right turns. So
Okay.
it's really easy to get over there now, and it's around where that Jersey Mike's is at. So it'd be a very familiar drive. But that honestly, I should go to Wendy's. That'd be good.
Yeah.
But anyways, we enough talking about food before people are like, "Shut up! End the podcast." um, so I guess my recommendation, if you like Minecraft, go watch that Gus's Escape thing. I don't know if that's what it's called, but
Yeah.
it just look up Gus the Iron Golem. It'll probably pop up.
Mhm.
But go watch that if you like that. Genie, do you have any recommendations for games or movies or anything like that?
Um, I would recommend a game that I played. It's a super indie game. Recently, and it is called. I'm gonna double check what the name is here. It's at the top of my thing. Ah, yes. It is called. If I could do double, actually, if that's all
Okay,
right.
go for it.
Dead Letter Department, and it is part of the haunted PS1 weird indie like scene of like PlayStation 1 graphics horror games
Oh
that
yeah,
are
yeah,
really
yeah.
cool. So Dead Letter Department is a typing horror, meaning like you've taken up a weird job in this weird place. It's a lot like mouth washing. I know that's like big right now, if in terms of style and look, and not gameplay. But it's first person actually, so I mean maybe some elements in that regard. But you type on a computer, and it's like letters that are from dead people or just unsent letters, and you're translating them because they're kind of hard to read into the computer, and then you're submitting and submitting and submitting. But then progressively, these letters seem to be speaking to you actually, and then it becomes really dark and weird and scary, and it's really cool. It's
That's cool.
psychological.
Yeah.
Another one, it just came out, is called Cabernet, and I really like this team in this game. It's an indie game that's incredible story actually. If you like vampires, it's a great game for women. I'm not sure you have a lot of women watching this podcast.
It's me. That's me. This is for me.
That one girl is like, yeah, this is, no, Cabernet is a game about vampires, and it's you play as a female vampire, but it uses vampirism and vampires as a metaphor for alcoholism and sort of like
Oh
the
wow.
need to constantly consume blood and making you go crazy. It's related to alcoholism, and Cabernet in this world is actually blood of humans that vampires like funneling, like it's the fucking, what's it called, in the 20s.
Oh, Prohibition.
Prohibition. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, it's like that, and it's I think 18th, 19th century,
So it's
19th century,
19th
and
century. Yeah.
yeah, it's really cool. It's a great story. I've played it all the way through. Recommend that game. And Dead Letter Department, if you
So
like typing.
Cabernet is actually 10% off right now.
Yeah, just came out a couple days ago, so
So
they're doing their introductory offer for the next 5 days. But we're filming this on March 6th, and I'm not sure when this podcast gets released. So if it's before March 6th,
that'll be
then,
before March 6th. Yeah.
okay, then yeah,
Yeah.
you have a couple days. Yeah.
So cool. Well, I'd say that was a success. We don't need you, Danny. We don't need.
Never a dull moment. Yeah.
But yeah, so I appreciate you coming on. I know
Thanks,
it's kind of a different episode. Thank you for watching and listening, everybody. Hopefully,
Yes.
Danny's not gone too often, but you know he's got a busy life, and I've got some stuff coming up soon, so we'll see how that all works out. But
I'm always happy to be on the podcast, no matter the time or the day or whenever. So anytime.
well, I mean, there's a reason why you used to be the third host.
All right.
Because
Yes.
you're the goat, you know. But
Likewise,
yeah.
dude. Thank you.
But all right, well, I think that's it. Peace.
Sounds good. See you guys.